Varmt välkomna till Slakthuset, varmt välkomna till The Conference. Det här har blivit en institution verkligen i Malmö de senaste åren. Media Evolution och samarbetspartners som ordnar en tämligen fantastisk konferens som har ett ganska brett spektrum har vi sett. Det handlar verkligen inte bara om teknik eller bara om massmedier utan om en lång rad andra saker också. Jag heter Andreas Ekström och är reporter på Sydsvenskan och jag kommer göra ett litet fåtal intervjuer på den här scenen. Det kommer att ske på engelska för vi har internationella gäster. Och den första som vi har här vid min sida är författaren Eva Hoffman. Så nu lämnar jag uppmärksamheten som jag riktar mot er och vänder mig mot publiken här på Slakthuset och min gäst. Så häng med. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Please, can we have some of your attention if you care to give it to us? Warmly welcome.
The background won't go away, will it?
Yeah, well, we'll hope so. We'll see how interesting we are. Welcome, everybody. We'll do this in English, of course, in honor of our guest. My name is Andreas Ekström. I'm a reporter at Sydsvenskan here in Malmö, the regional newspaper. This is Eva Hoffman, internationally acclaimed author and many other things, and I think she's worth a round of applause right away. Now, Eva has already given her keynote this morning, and for those of you who weren't there, I would like to ask Eva of the sort of Reader's Digest version of what you mentioned this morning, even though I realize that's probably an abbreviation of your work as it was.
Yes, yes, this morning's presentation was already a kind of Reader's Digest, but I will try to condense it a little bit further. So I was talking about the effects of digital technologies on human time, on our sense of time, how we experience time and how time is constructed within us, within our bodies and minds and psyches. It's my contention that on every level of our functioning, time is very malleable, but time also has very clear... You cannot hear. Yes, I don't know how we'll do it. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Can I repeat that?
Please do.
So this morning I was talking about the effects of digital technologies on human time, time as it is lived and experienced, but also time as it is constructed within us, within our bodies and minds and psyches. And it is my contention that on every level, human time is very malleable, but that it does have definite limits and parameters. And that if we overstep these limits, that exacts certain costs. If we try to push our bodies too much and not sleep, we get ill. If we push our brains beyond the speed of brain thought, the brain becomes actually less efficient. So when we do multitasking, we actually become less efficient at these various tasks than people who do not do multitasking. And I think our inner lives, our affective lives, are the most elusive realm, but they also require a certain kind of temporality, a certain kind of time. And if we go too fast or too slowly, we basically get disturbed. Our sense of internal lives gets disturbed. So I was saying that we need to respect these various kinds of time within us, and that not all of it is susceptible to the kind of ethos of speed and multiplicity that digital technologies run on.
So this is a fairly new area of focus for you. What made you to take on the subject?
Well, I have always been very preoccupied with time, and time has always been a kind of substratum in all of my books, really. And then I had a kind of perfect occasion because a series was coming out called Small Books, Big Ideas. So I decided this was the perfect format for this not very small idea of human time. on this subject one can work for 10 years and write a very big tome, or one can write an essayistic set of reflections, and this is what I decided to do.
So I've looked into some of your older work, and you have an incredibly interesting background biographically. Your parents were Holocaust survivors. You have an immigration history of moving several times. You became Canadian age 13, I think.
That's right.
And didn't speak any English at the time?
No.
So you had to reinvent yourself many times, and you had to forgive a lot of your past. Now, I'm curious on your thoughts on time as a key to mature and forgive and move on. Why do we need time for that?
Well, we do need time because the processes of understanding and coming to terms with particularly enormous collective tragedies, of reckoning with them, of coming to terms, of trying to understand, insofar as it is possible, the other side, all of that takes time. I think perhaps my preoccupation with time emerged initially out of coming into post-war Poland and, the scene of very great destruction and the awareness of mortality and the brevity of time was certainly right there. But we do need time for all those processes. I have spoken to survivors of the Rwanda genocide, and they sometimes feel that they're being hurried through various stages of grieving and mourning. Now you do anger, and now you do mourning, and now you do forgiveness. And they're being hurried through it because we now sort of know what the stages are. Yeah, we've sort of been
taught the 5 steps of moving on, right?
Exactly. Yeah, but it does, you need to process it. In order for it to be at all genuine, it needs to be incorporated into yourself.
And now, time in your life, it's rude to mention a lady's age, but you're 69 years old, so you're in the second half of your working life, and you've just given out your first novel. You're just finishing your first novel. Is that?
No, that isn't quite true. I've written 2 novels. I've had 2 novels published.
Okay.
I came to novels later than I did to nonfiction, but I have had 2 novels.
What did you need to acquire as far as experience and time and thought to be able to take that step?
Well, actually, I wanted to write my first novel for a very long time, and I got diverted into my other books. I think certain subjects call for certain forms, and I had a subject which required a novel. In each case, it required a novel. And in each case, the novels came out of an absolute fascination with the subject. The first one was already a kind of odd departure for me because it is called The Secret. The secret is revealed on page 69. But the secret is, in fact, that the protagonist is her mother's identical clone, which she doesn't realize until a certain age. So, it came out of my fascination with cloning and what this does to our conception of the human, of subjectivity. What does such a person's internal life feel like? So in a sense, I'm always writing about subjectivity in one way or another.
Right. Now, with the writing experience and life experience, have you found that people come to you for advice?
Do you mean formally?
Yeah.
I have also had quite a lot of psychoanalytic training. So for a while I was even, seeing patients as an intern at a clinic. It has also been very gratifying to me recently to talk to the second generation members of various collective tragedies in Rwanda, in Japan, in China, in fact, and in South Africa. And to share that experience with others has been deeply gratifying, actually, that one can be useful in those ways.
Yeah. So if my final question to you combining these things would be, what would your best advice be for us connected to time? What's your best advice for us to make use of time and understand time?
Take time out. Give yourself some time to daydream and meander and have a kind of improvised conversation and have a spontaneous sort of walk somewhere. Give yourself time to process and understand your internal experience. So don't think of all the hours in the day as being instrumental, as being, only productive. Don't require from every hour of the day that it should be efficient and productive in some way, because actually that also reduces a certain capacity for imagination and insight. Neuroscientists talk about task-positive mode of attention and task-negative mode of attention. And task-negative mode of attention is when you allow yourself precisely to daydream and wander without an absolutely targeted aim. And it is in that mode that you recharge, that your imagination comes alive, that creativity and insight can begin to happen.
Wonderful words from Eva Hoffman. A warm round of applause for her, please. Thank you very much for listening. Tack till er som har tittat på sydsvenskan.se. Vi är tillbaka här strax före 5:00 och då med Kevin Alocca från YouTube som kommer att berätta en hel del om vad som händer där. Tack för att ni tittade och vi ses igen. Ha det bra. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.